Hello guys, welcome to this video where I'm going to tell you the best weapons for anti-barrier, overload and unstoppable. Okay, so first up with the artifact, let's go to it. Anti-barrier weapons. There's literally only two types of weapons, auto rifles and SMGs. There's another case for a weapon, but we'll get onto that later. So first, so let's go to auto rifles first. I recommend auto rifles faster than 450 RPM. Okay, now we're actually going to the weapon. This is the RPM, faster than 450 because they are way too. But 600s and 720s are quite fast. Okay, now I recommend auto rifles that have 4 times the charm or triple tap, and if you can get a Vorpal weapon on it. So say you get this auto rifle right here. If you do have it from last season, getting Vorpal weapon is really good. Okay, against the anti-barrier because it breaks the shields fast. Now when you have 4 times the charm or triple tap, you actually shoot for longer. So let's demonstrate on this night. I will actually never have to reload if I hit all headshots. Okay, let's go. As you see there, I only had to reload at the end. This is why 4th Touchman Charm is really good, and having Vorpal, okay, having Vorpal, you do extra damage to these guys, these champions. This is clearly not a champion, but you know, Vorpal weapons works on champions. Now SMGs, there's not really many SMGs on the top slot. I guess you could, let's just go over here. I guess you could go with exit strategy or something like that. There isn't very many choice for the top slot. Maybe having, I think, escape velocity with Vorpal. I think that's the SMG with it. You could do that, but there's not many choices for the kinetic. Now when we get to the energy slot, again, anything with 450 RPM is really good. Arc Logic is quite good. Having overflow is amazing. So when you pick up special or heavy, you get extended magazine. It goes probably up to like 82 ammo. You'd have to reload for long. Okay. Another one, Death Adder. Very good because we can roll with Mulligan. Mulligan's really good against champions because you don't really have to reload ever, which is really important. Because if you do have to reload, you're gonna waste time, and he's just gonna not get stunned. He's just gonna exit his shields, and he's gonna walk around and kill you. Also try and get a disruption break with this roll, because when you break the shields, everyone on your team, even yourself, can do extra damage with kinetic weapons. So say you have Izanagi's burden on or something, or let's say outbreak. You could all do extra damage to this champion. Okay. Now we have a special weapon here, Eriana's Vow. If you do have it, no other anti-barrier should even be used if you have this weapon. This Eriana's Vow is amazing as champion. It requires pretty much only like 2 or 3 headshots or 4 to break the shield. You don't need very many shots. Okay, as long as you get the first glance buff right there, you can pretty much have a 2 headshot to break in Master. For Grandmasters, probably a 4 headshot break if you're just soloing it. But if all 3 of your teammates have it, it's gonna be real good. It's gonna be great. Okay, now let's move on to the next option, which is the overload rounds with the handcannon and sidearms. So this is usually my loadout when I'm doing Grandmaster, where there's anti-barrier. Spare rations. Any handcannon with explosive rounds you should always have for overload. Okay, it requires only 2 shots to overload. Demonstrate right here. 1 or 1 shot. Okay, I get overload shot instantly. And pretty much any handcannon is faster than 110 that has explosive rounds or time payload. It's quite good. 180s are probably the best if you want a fast overload. okay? But if you want extra damage, when you want to go for maybe a slow option like a 140, like this one, you could do overload on this. Now for sidearms, there's not very many sidearms. I guess you could go with breach light, that right here, because it shoots 2 shots. Okay, I guess you could go with this option, but there's not very many sidearms, and you probably shouldn't be using sidearms if you are gonna do Grandmaster content. You should probably try and use hand cannons for overloads because they have a longer range, or a bow. Okay, when we get onto that, but as you see, overload takes 3 shots. Explosive hand cannon takes 2 shots, or maybe 1. Okay, now in the energy slot, kindled orchid with explosive. That's pretty much the only option, or trust. Okay, trust is also a good option. And in the energy slot, I don't think there's any else. Yeah, there's nothing really else that has explosive round in the energy slot. Or you could go Nation of Beasts. That's another option as well from the Last Wish raid. Okay, now let's go to the third one, which is Unstoppable Hand Cannon. Again, Erianas Van when there's anti-barrier. You have to have an explosive hand cannon. Okay, make sure you have this perk whenever you have a hand cannon, because the extra plus 7% damage buff to it, it's better than you think. Okay, you can shoot around corners, like you don't have to like actually look at them, shoot the floor, and it's very good at long ranges, so you don't actually have to hit them, just hit around them. Okay, any hand cannon works for this, like even 110s work for this. Any hand cannon really. Okay, the next one is a bow. I recommend bows with quick draw time, so let's actually get, okay, so let's actually put on the mods for this. Okay, so the bows I recommend are usually the light frames, but you could also go with the precision frames. They do a lot of damage, more damage than the light weight frames, so you can use them if you want to, but try and go for lightweight. The only precision I recommend is the Hush, because it could do this. Okay, it has, if you get a hip fire shot, okay, precision hip fire shots, you get a buff you see down there, Archer's Gambit, which increases your draw time. Okay, it's very fast, and it procs every single time you hit a precision hit, so you don't need to actually kill. Okay, let's compare. Precision frame, slow. Boom, precision hit headshot, it's fast. So it's quite good against champions. Probably the best for overloads. If you do have this, best solo bow. If you don't have it, Temple of Heaven from the Last Wish chest, or if you did the Crimson Days event, you could do this bow. It's still a pretty good option. It's a lightweight, so it pulls pretty fast. Okay, now the farmable bows. This one's not actually farmable, but still, this is an arc bow that's quite good. If you can try and get Archer's Tempo to increase the draw time, plus the draw time masterwork, and flexible string to decrease the draw time, that will give you a 540 draw time. And with the Archer's Tempo, it will decrease the draw time even more. Okay, another arc bow, Pointed Stag from the Iron Banner. You can't really get this weapon anymore, I don't think, actually. So if you do have this weapon, maybe use it. Okay, use it if you don't have Arsenic Bite and you need an arc element bow. Okay, Vorpal weapon. You definitely go for Vorpal weapon and Archer's Tempo for the increased draw time. Okay, the faster the draw time, the faster overload procs. Now, a good kinetic bow is the Whispering Slab. Quite a good bow. If you can get Vorpal weapon at least, okay, draw time, and anything that decreases the draw time here is good. Okay, doesn't really matter about any of the stats. I don't think this column really matters. Quick draw is still good though, so you can quickly draw it out if you see an overload. But yeah, another bow in this slot. There's a couple more bows in the kinetic slot. Accrued Redemption, I guess you could take, but I don't have it. Spiteful Fang, this is one you could take, definitely farm from the Black Armory, from Ada 1. You can't get this bow anymore, okay? You can't get Subtle Calamity anymore if you do need a Void Bow. But if you do have this, do not delete it. Even if it's a trash roll, do not delete it. Because I recommend having every single element of each bow. Because when we were doing the Grandmaster run, I had to have a Void weapon, and I didn't have a Void Bow. So I couldn't go Outbreak and a Void Bow. The next one, the last one, is Unstoppable Burst. And this kind of combines with this one. Unstoppable Burst. Any pulse rifle's good. There's literally, all of them are literally good. There's no bad option. Okay. But now for the arms, this is where it gets interesting. You can put on a legendary pulse rifle. So let's actually get 2 pulse rifles, an exotic one and a okay, we've got a better option, the curated Chattering Bone. Okay, now let's actually remove these arms and let's show it off with the Unstoppable Burst. Now what if you do have the Unstoppable Burst mod on, you can just do this and apply the mod to the pulse rifle normally, and it does Unstoppable. Or you can actually apply it to your arms right here with this mod. Okay, and if you do want to use a legendary still, say like you have Eriana's Vow here and you want to do Unstoppable, then you can do this and apply like an extra mod. So you want to do extra damage to minor enemies, you do that, and it does still do the Unstoppable shot, as you see in the buff on the bottom left hand corner with this mod right here. But this is where it gets interesting, okay? We can actually incorporate an exotic that can do champion mods. Outbreak is especially good if you have teams. Okay, a team of 3 that has this gun. Okay, if you have a team of 3 that has this gun, you melt the champion so fast. Okay, when we were doing the Grandmaster, okay, this week, and during the Lake of Shadows, when we were using this gun, this was extremely good against Unstoppables. The Unstoppables melted so fast. If you have the Catalyst, is even better. The Catalyst allows you to do even more damage to these guys. Okay, there are multiple different pulse rifles. Okay, we've got Vigilance Wing. It's quite good, I guess, if you want to do Unstoppable, because this is more for like team play or clutch play. If your teammate is killed, you can actually run away from the situation, get better positioning, and Unstoppable the target there. But the best ones I recommend are these 2, Bad Juju and Outbreak. Outbreak for harder content like Grandmaster, but Bad Juju for anything lower than Grandmaster. I recommend this because you can get your super back quite fast. And if you do have the Catalyst from doing the Tribute Hall where I am right now, if you do have the Catalyst, okay, by putting all the statues down and doing all the triumphs, to put all the relics down, stuff, but you can get the Catalyst, which extends the String of Curses buff. This buff right here extends it. Okay, it's quite good. It's a really good pulse rifle for. It's more utility pulse rifle rather than pure damage pulse rifle. That's why I recommend it. For energy, Graviton's still good if you want to do voids. I don't know if there's any other pulse rifle in this slot. No. Okay. But yeah, mainly the Bad Juju and Outbreak, they're probably the best options if you're doing the Nightfall. Okay, Master or Grandmaster. Now for exotic options, if you do have, let's see, what has exotic champion mod here? Nothing. Okay, Eriana's Vow again. If you do have it, ignore all the other anti-barrier options. You should always equip this on. This is probably the best option for you. Okay, Divinity, if you do have it, amazing. Okay, please equip it on if you do have it. All overload options just ignore if you have a Divinity. Devil's Rune is okay. Still sidearm, so you have to get close up to them, but you can use it in master content. Try not using Grandmaster because yeah, it's a sidearm. There's not a lot of range on sidearms. For power options, and Leviathan's Breath, quite good range, but what I'm gonna say, the draw time's really slow, and you kind of want to unstoppable the champions fast. Whenever you're doing champions, you want to stun them really fast. That's what I recommend. So for this mod, I don't really recommend this mod unless you don't have a bow. If you do have a bow, pick this option over this one, because the bows are always faster at doing overloads. But if you don't have Divinity over this option. For unstoppable, either these two. They're both the same. As well as this one, they're all the same. Again, overload grenades. Just choose a void subclass, preferably the ones that can set a trap like this. Vortex grenade. Axiom bolt is good, but if the enemy teleports behind the wall, like most overloads do, the Axiom bolt will die out. Scatter grenade is not that good. Okay, so on Titan you do have the magnetic grenade actually, which is quite good against the overloads. Because it homes in on them, attaches to it. Okay. For Inferno Whip, any ranged melee. So this one, I don't recommend this top tree for Grandmaster, but you can use it for Master. And for Hunters, just use the Throwing Knife for the solar unstoppable melee, and Titans use Middle Tree. Use Middle Tree, you could use Top Tree for master content, with Peregrines maybe, to debuff the champions, but it's still quite risky trying to get in close, because the Unstoppables can and might stomp you, one hit you, wipe you out real quick. But yeah, I think that's all for the champion mods really. Yeah. Okay, these are the best weapons to use if you're going to go into the more difficult Nightfall content, like the Master or Grandmaster. These two options. Okay, this week is actually anti-barrier overload, so I'm going to be using a bow for this one. The slab, the Whispering Slab from this season, which is actually very farmable, so I recommend farming this one first, the Whispering Slab. Try and get, actually, Archer's Tempo with Vorpal. Definitely the row I recommend, Archer's Tempo and Vorpal. Okay, I'm going to use Erianas Vow. Maybe with a machine gun or something, a void machine gun, that you can actually farm this season, the Temporal Claws. Okay, that's probably what I'm going to use for this Grandmaster run, but yeah, as you see, it's pretty quick, but you can, if you don't want to use a bow, try and get the curated spare rations from Gambit Prime. From Gambit Prime by equipping a whole collector's set, like a full collector's set. Make sure you have the tier 3 version of it, of the collector's set from Reckoning, and just deposit a giant blocker through and hope your chances. Okay, I had to do it over 100 times to get this curated, but you know. Okay, hope you liked the video, I guess. Hope this was helpful. Goodbye.